Steam became the only good monopoly in existence. I've heard Steam is actually like pretty decent, and yeah, pretty much is a monopoly. If you think of it, the majority of games you play on the computer is off of Steam. Like I would say for like 95% of people's game library mostly is off of Steam, and the rest, you might have Epic Games for Fortnite maybe. If you even play Fortnite, I don't know what other games are on there, to be honest. Apex Legends, that was on Origin, right, or something? But even that is on Steam now, right? Bro, for a company the size of Steam, they could have really won like asshole route. Steam literally owns like 95% of the gaming market and shit, and they could do some scummy ass things. They also have like really good customer support. I see a bunch of people memeing it, talking about you lose your account, Steam gets it back to you in like a couple hours, and then they take care of the hacker for you. You don't know what happened to the hacker. You can only imagine like a Steam employee put up to there, found their address, put them in the back alley of a fucking Arby's, and then beat them to death. But real talk, this is what we need from companies, man. Deadass, nobody would have a problem with a monopoly in America, I feel like, at least, if these companies were actually ethical. But a majority of monopolies are not fucking ethical. Then again, I don't know if Steam has done like bad things in the past, but so far it seems like it's been pretty solid. But let's go ahead and see this video.
Steam shouldn't exist. Okay, hear me out for a second. I'm definitely glad it exists. I use it like several times a week to buy and play games, and I have a good experience almost every time. But it definitely shouldn't exist. I mean, if I told you that there was a tech company that was founded in the 90s that controlled 70% of its market and that had basically zero meaningful competition, and that the CEO owns a fleet of yachts so big that he needs smaller support yachts for the main one, you'd probably start thinking about guillotines and not video games. And yet this more or less perfectly describes Valve, the company responsible for Steam. It's basically impossible to name another tech company from that.
Crazy thing is, billionaires could still have like crazy yachts and shit and still be ethical. They just like dead ass choose not to be, which is the fucking crazy part. Like, you tell me right now, like if Amazon was 10 or 20% more ethical with their employees and shit, their lives would change like phenomenally. The people that work for it. But the people that work for it, like the stalkers, just feel like fucking dead slaves in there. I don't know. It's so crazy to me, bro, that these companies could be a little bit more ethical, bro, but these niggas is too greedy, dog. Steam is proof of it, bro.
Era that has a reputation that's half as good as Valve. And even just a quick Google search will show you a litany of admiration and good reviews for Gabe Newell, the founder, in a way that very few people seem to talk about, say, Zuckerberg or Bezos. Valve and Steam have won.
It's even worse with Zuckerberg, because the one, damn, what's that movie called? The Networking or whatever? The one where he like backstabbed his friend? Yo, that shit did generational harm to him. Okay, he was already like made fun of in the past and stuff just because he was like an awkward ass dude and like interviews and shit. If you look back then, like this dude would be sweating and shit just from getting a question asked. But that movie came out, bro, and from that day, nobody trusted him. I know he probably fucking hates that movie. Now they're about to release a second one. That shit probably about to be way worse. Like, if people thought it was bad back then, with Mark Zuckerberg now and all the shit he's done, yeah, it's gonna be bad. Hey guys, Tom NFG here. You know, only half of you guys are subscribed and even less of you guys have noties on. I hate to be a burden, but you know, I really appreciate it if you hit that sub button and the little bell next to it. You know, it doesn't take long. I know you can get mixed up in the algorithm and everything. But yeah, also tune into the streams. You know, we have a lot of fun over there. I'm telling you, we have a lot of parties going on over there. Yeah, that's it. Bye. Damn.
Of capitalism, and they've effectively monopolized an entire business, and yet they are at the same time lauded as one of the best examples of a consumer-friendly product, and it makes no sense at first glance. So how did they do it? How did Steam beat capitalism without getting greedy? Valve Corporation is without a doubt one of the most important companies in all of technology.
Yo, I have those chairs, by the way, y'all. Chairs are beautiful. Okay. They are expensive. You could probably find some people from selling these cheap, but like these Herman Millers. Hey, how y'all think I've been recording so much more often and been locked in, bro? You need a comfy ass chair for somebody that like sits down a lot and works a lot, like from home, or I don't know, maybe you're doing your schoolwork or something. Mad useful.
Corporation is without a doubt one of the most important companies in all of technology. It was founded by two guys, Gabe Newell and Mike Harrington, who left Microsoft in 1996 to pursue a dream project, creating their very own video game from scratch. Their debut project was Half-Life, and it was so successful that it still is today considered one of the greatest video games of all time. And since then, they've released a lot of bangers. Half-Life, Team Fortress, and Counter-Strike are all still incredibly popular here.
Oh, those are literally from Valve. Totally forgot about like the logo with the dude. He has like the thing you turn a hose with. I forgot what it was called in the back of his head when I realized. I didn't even think of it yet. So Valve like made Steam, but they also made those games. That's interesting. I don't know why I didn't know that.
And have millions of players every day collectively. But after releasing several extremely popular games themselves, they noticed a few issues with the games industry. If you're a little older, you might remember a time when pirating a PC game was comically easy. Literally within a few days, you could get free software, and bypassed most security measures with like a few seconds of Googling. And we saw the first wave.
I mean, nowadays it's not that much harder. Nowadays it's probably easy. There's websites where like you could just download a bunch of games, I'm pretty sure. I mean, not that I would know. IRS/government/FBI/Cash Patel/whoever else is watching right now, but I'm just saying these things I heard of, you know?
Of companies getting really desperate to put the lid on piracy. When Doom 2 was leaked weeks before its official release, their developer responded by banning any pre-launch reviews or external testing for their next game, Quake. The then vice president of marketing even announced that no copy of our games would leave the building. Except that game ended up also being leaked 3 days before its release. Some kid literally just broke into their network and downloaded the game in front of them. And they were so young that the company didn't even bother pressing charges. This state of affairs, though, wasn't all fun and
Yo,
games.
it's so funny that, like, bro, you have these high-tech, high-security, high-advanced, like, game companies, and they end up getting hacked by, like, a fucking teenager in the room. Using, like, a laptop their parents got them, like, 4 years ago. Like, just like the GTA hacker. Dude was literally just obsessed with hacking. He was like, you know what? I want to try GTA. Let me see if I can log in and find the employee shit. And then he released it. The most major leak, I think, like, the only leak, right, of GTA 6. Kind of crazy. Now he's, like, serving in prison for life, so that should be proof. Don't cross Rockstar Games. Yo ass will be thrown in prison and they're going to throw away the key. I mean, that should be obvious anyways, but you know, don't leak their games. They don't play with it.
The lack of security also made games way more prone to hacking and cheating, and it was super difficult for game developers to have a clean method to offer security and performance patches over the lifespan of the game. And this is where Steam came in. You see, Gabe Newell has a pretty famous take on piracy.
What's Valve's take on piracy?
So we don't really worry about piracy. There's misconceptions in the industry about what piracy is, that they don't want to pay any money and they want to get your content. But when you look at the fact that these people have, $2,000 PCs, clearly they're willing to spend money. Everybody in the United States knows that Russians are pirates. When the reality is that the pirates in Russia were actually doing a much better job than the games companies themselves. And as soon as the product became available at the same time that it was available in Australia or the UK or the United States, and it was localized in Russia, all of a sudden our piracy problems in Russia disappeared. Piracy is a result of bad service.
The whole idea behind
piracy is a result of bad service. That's interesting. He probably disagree with that take now. Or maybe back then, yeah. Nowadays, bro, niggas just do it because they don't want to pay for shit. That's an interesting take, though. I wonder if he still stands with it.
Steam was to fix part of the service problem, to combine piracy protection, software updates, and anti-cheat technology all into one platform that was at least as easy to use as the pirate methods. The scope of the project expanded over time to not just include Valve's games, but other people's games and social and community features as well. And, well, they kind of nailed it. Since launching in late 2003, Steam has accumulated over 100,000 games and now has...
Yeah, now the number one spot, when you make a game, you gotta put it on Steam. It's like when you release a product, you gotta put that shit on Amazon, as an example. If you're trying to sell a house, you gotta put it on, like, Zillow. It's so crazy that we just had, like, upset this is just... these are, like, few companies that just, like, everybody uses it no matter what.
Over 40 million daily concurrent users. I think it'd be a stretch to call Valve a game developer like you might have in the 90s. Today, they're a retail business that occasionally develops games on the side. But still, even despite that, the world has changed a lot since 2003, and Valve has followed such a drastically different path than the rest of the tech world. We can compare it with, say, Microsoft, which recently announced that it was increasing prices of its Xbox.
Damn! Rise more than 50% from 15, is that euro, to fucking 23, dog. What are we doing, bro? Yo, Xbox really, like, they might as well just cancel this shit at that point. 50%?
Game Pass subscription service by 50 to 100% depending on where you are in the world.
Ridiculous.
Or even Nintendo, which is selling $80 to $90 games. Meanwhile, Steam on the
I've seen people complaining about that. I didn't even get the Switch 2, but it was one of the Mario games. It was like $80, and people were like, bro, what is the point of this? And I'm telling you right now, companies are trying to normalize this. Like, when GTA 6 releases for, like, who knows how much, I'm gonna assume 75. Let's say normal game 75. I'm really pushing it up because I'm assuming it's gonna be a higher price just because the amount, like, you spent like $2 billion to make it. All the other games are gonna try to follow suit. And these companies gotta know, bro, we not spending 75 on a game unless it's GTA 6. All right. The newest Call of Duty, bro, niggas don't even want to buy it anymore, bro, because they know it's just a reskin of the old game. There's only certain games that can do that. And I hope these companies learn. I hope some of them go bankrupt and realize, oh shit, yo, we gotta actually make our products affordable. Like, there should be no reason for old Call of Duty game, like a Black Ops 2 game, to still be like $40, bro. In 2025, with probably like 50 people on the servers.
And has no subscription services. It has a weirdly generous return policy and several extremely generous sales every year, when that's clearly not the established meta in gaming today. You won't find any reviews like this if you look up their competitors. People don't like wax poetic about the Epic Games Store or about EA Origin. And there are a few really good reasons why Valve behaves the way
Nah, my Origin, my EA, the EA launch shit be fucking up, bro. I think I had it for Rainbow Six Siege. Bro, it would fuck up so much. Like, I would have to download an update for it, but then it would freeze and I'd reopen it. Tried everything and it would just keep glitching, bro. That one was probably the worst one to me. It was the one with Rainbow Six Siege on it. I could be wrong. I haven't done it in a while, but it just sucked.
And seemingly nobody else does. So Valve is a weird company, but not just from the outside. While basically every major tech company from their era decided to become publicly listed on the stock market and solicit investment from the public, Valve has had a really quite different approach. They've remained completely private since being founded, and as a result, it can be hard to find out pretty much anything about how the company works, but some people have done their best to dig deep and get some information. The biggest advantage for...
I just don't think every company needs to be like a stock, though. I don't know if that's crazy to say. Like, what would you be investing in a Valve stock for? Like Steam stock? You know how the company runs. Like, it's a company that holds games. What else could possibly change? And also, I think the problem with companies when they do that, they have to like constantly change shit for no reason. Like, you even see with YouTube, bro. Any of my YouTube execs watch, I just want to say I love you. All changes are great and amazing. Never had a problem. And okay, good. But yeah, YouTube would just add a random fucking update, bro, just to appease like shareholders. You'll see an update, you'll be like, bro, what the f is this? Then they'll remove it. Because, like, the shareholders, the people that own it, it's like they want to see some type of change. They want to see things changing. They don't want to see it the same. Which is why, like, all these companies just start changing a bunch of shit and then feel different after a couple years. I mean, even if you look at TikTok, bro, I don't know if y'all noticed TikTok, bro. There's so many ads. Oh my god, it is unbearable. Like, using TikTok now isn't even close to as enjoyable as experience as it was in like 2021 or 2022. It's like this: I see a video, it's an ad, it's a person promoting a product. I see a video, it's an ad, I scroll, it's a video, I scroll, it's a person promoting a product, and it's like, bro, that TikTok shop shit is so terrible. They just got to remove it at this point.
All of them being private is how they set goals. A public company like Meta has obligations every quarter. They have to announce and subsequently beat their earnings estimates. The share price has to keep going up, and even a small dip in revenues can be pretty disastrous for the future of a huge publicly listed company. The line has to keep going up, and the collective tech industry realized a while ago that the best way to do that is to acquire as many users as humanly possible, and then you start squeezing them for everything they're worth. You add in a subscription plan and you can get consistent monthly recurring revenue, which makes it easier to create these earnings estimates. You can shoehorn in blockchain.
It depends though. Companies will try to put a subscription on everything. Certain products you don't buy a subscription for. Like, to be honest, like right now, y'all, for example, there's no reason to buy like a Twitter blue check mark. And I'll tell y'all right now, I have one, right? But literally the only reason I have it is like I'm a creator, and if I don't do it, bro, people just don't see my tweets. My tweets don't get sent out. And me being a creator, that's my brand as well. Like, y'all understand, right? Y'all watch me. I need more exposure to like grow the community, to, you know, get us bigger and stuff. You know, we have like a better tight-knit community. But like literally without it, dude, like nobody sees my shit. I literally have tested it. Nobody will fucking see it. Like, you dead ass. I guess if you want to get big on Twitter, I don't know why you would. Honestly, barely tweet on there. I don't even know if I need the blue check mark. I buy it just in case and just use it as like a business write-off because it's like $8 a month. If you're not a creator, bro, it's probably not worth it.
In cloud or AI, depending on what year it is, and you got another couple $100 billion of investment, easy peasy. And the strategy has worked so effectively for them. Microsoft, Apple, and Amazon are all literally trillion-dollar companies. Zuckerberg's platform has decided the results of elections, and Amazon brought in $640 billion in revenue in 2024. Even the most generous estimates put Valve's revenue at like 1 to 2% of a platform like Amazon. And that's a pretty big downside if your goal is to make the biggest company on the planet, or to become the most powerful person on the planet. But that's not the case at Valve. Being private offers a hell of a lot of benefits. You're only bound to the will of a handful of owners who can think on a much longer time frame, who can do stuff because...
That's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, it's like, how much do you care about your product and how much do you care about your consumers? Because you see, as soon as these companies start selling out, bro, that's when they start like he said, like squeezing the consumers, and they start giving less of a sometimes, bro, they'd be mad too. They'd be like, damn, all these shareholders need something, like we need to release things. But like at the end of the day, they did it, so like it's your fault. And it's not like if you try to get rid of it and go private again, it's gonna be rough.
They think it's a good idea, and they don't have to cater to whatever's trendy in the market just to keep their business solvent day to day. You'll actually notice that the Steam interface has barely changed since the original launch.
Yeah.
There's no AI chatbot in there, and their changes operate under a whole different calculus, a whole different set of decision-making principles, since being relevant to Wall Street is just not a core part of their business model. They can focus their energy on changes that are actually worth doing, not ones that look like what the market wants to.
Bro, Facebook probably or Meta about to go extinct in like 30 years. Because who needs this? Who would ever fucking need this?
Here. And that philosophy has kind of permeated the entire company from top to bottom. A few years ago, a copy of their internal employee handbook leaked and revealed a lot of weird stuff happening inside Valve. Valve is a company where no one has a formal manager, projects are completely self-organized, and employees decide how they allocate 100% of their work time throughout the week. The handbook literally tells employees that they should only work on a project that they believe is important enough for them to work on. They have a section all about work-life balance, which directs newcomers towards a specific employee that they can speak to if they need more encouragement to take time off. There's so much stuff in here that would never in a million years pass the approval structures of your average public company, where having power over people is kind of the point a lot of the time. Stuff like nobody has ever been fired at Valve for making a mistake and working overtime.
Bro, to me, this is the type of like capitalism I like though, bro. Like genuinely, if a majority of companies, especially in America, were run like this would like damn near be close to a paradise, bro. Literally say, yeah, just go to one of the employees and then like she'll probably just give you a couple days off, like you're chilling. It's crazy because like in certain countries, like European countries and shit, bro, they get like a shit ton of days off for certain things. In the richest country in the world, bro, you tell me right now you can't have these benefits in like big companies. They literally are just choosing not to give it. I know every company can do it, like a small business, obviously, but I'm talking about the big ones like Amazon. They could 100% be doing shit like this.
For extended periods indicates a fundamental failure in planning at Valve. These things are pretty wild to see in a corporate handbook, and clearly Valve has put a lot of thought into creating a company that actually does seem to get quite a lot out of its people, especially given how small it is.
79 staff in 2021. Oh, Valve has always had fewer than 400 employees. So that means, bro, with that $5 billion, if it's split evenly, I know it's not, but how much is everybody getting? Bro, everybody doing good. What? I wouldn't be mad if I was working out. I'd be happy as hell. Also, how do they even need a handbook if it's like 79 people?
I've kind of been glazing these guys up until this point, all right? And in the world we live in, they're clearly not the worst tech bros out there. But it's important to remember one thing about Valve. It's not a charity, okay? It exists like literally every other company of this scale to make a lot of money. And it does that incredibly well. The CEO, Gabe, isn't suffering because of his choices. He hasn't sacrificed anything in the pursuit of this business model, right? He's got an armada of yachts and is currently building a $400 million super yacht, which is about the same price as a Boeing 747 passenger jet.
Damn.
And I don't know how many times you might need to hear this, but you don't get quite to this level without doing at least some degree of shady business. And Valve has not been immune from that. Honestly, the most important reason why Valve...
It's probably just kicking out all the other businesses or making it so like no other company can come up.
Valve continues to operate the way it does is because it works incredibly well at making money. Their revenue per employee is higher than basic...
I know they weren't getting paid like 200 mil each or something, but 3.5 million per employee? Bro, everybody's living good.
Every other major tech company. And they just like print money with Steam, which is likely the reason why we've seen so few actual game releases from a company that was created to release games. It makes a lot.
And I'm realizing that Steam could be in like quite literally every country. Like what country other than like North Korea? Pretty sure they have it in like Russia. There's probably just certain games they have to like censor for them. Like they probably tell them just remove this game if it's the Russian version. It's a product that could be everywhere. It's the same thing with like Windows. Windows could be everywhere. There's a reason why Bill Gates has been rich, like worth like 100 bill for who knows how many decades.
More sense to just sell other people's games and benefit from the upside of a successful hit and take little to no risk if a huge project flops on their platform. Even once you're aware of the main factors behind Valve's success, their unique corporate structure, their good leadership, focus on consumer experience and strong hiring, it can be a little difficult to understand why they haven't been dethroned yet, especially given that the competition collectively has access to trillions of dollars. Now, part of it is just that
I think it's because they're not greedy. Like, people don't have a reason to leave Steam. It's not like they're trying to take people's money, fucking people up. They have great customer service. You know, there's not really a reason. I think the way I see it is kind of like if I'm comparing like car brands. I don't know why I just thought of car brands, but like something like Honda and Toyota. Bro, that's never gonna fail because they're so fucking reliable. It does its job. They have been, they upgrade them. They make them look better. So it's why they're the highest selling cars in the world.
The PC market has grown year on year. It's so unbelievably cheap and easy to access the PC gaming world, especially compared to 2003, and Valve has been rewarded handsomely for that. And while they've been able to achieve this level of growth without actually like seriously mistreating their consumers or their employees, they've not necessarily been as nice to everyone else involved in the game development process. As they've grown, the pressure that they've put on game developers and game publishers, especially the smaller ones, has been getting a little bit out of hand. So Steam takes a 30% cut of all sales through the platform, which is ludicrously high.
No, that is a lot. Like, Roblox does that too, which people complain about. I guess that makes sense because bro has like a $400 million guy. Bro, it could be like 15% or something, and you'd be straight, bro. Like, let's be so for real.
For context, a website like eBay takes about 12 to 15%,
yeah,
while other game sale platforms take even less. Epic Games takes nothing on the first $1 million in sales, and even the famous generous Microsoft only takes 12% of sales on its store. And in a fairer world, game developers could take advantage.
Yeah, I think they just know it's like a monopoly. That's why, like, if you're a game developer, you got no choice but to put it on there. Like, what are you gonna do? Not put it on Steam? You're basically gonna get like no sales. So that is the major problem with them. Like, they're just like finessing the game developers, which could also, the game developers could also pass those costs to consumers because they might have to increase their price of the game so they like actually recoup it.
Of lower fees on other platforms to offer better prices to customers. If I was a game developer that needed to make $7 per copy sold in order to recoup my initial costs, then I could charge $10 on Steam as a minimum, since they take 30%.
Yeah.
And I could charge, say, $7 on Epic, since the first $1 million in sales has zero fees. Customers would get cheaper games, the devs would get the same amount of money. It's one of the clearest win-wins ever. Except that Valve is well aware of this and forces developers to agree to what's known as a most favored nation clause in its agreements.
Why does it just sound like some type of political agreement?
An MFN, a most favored nation clause, basically means that a developer can't sell their game substantially cheaper elsewhere if it's also listed on Steam. It means that even if another platform cuts the fees that they take, the developers aren't allowed to pass on the savings from that deal to the end consumer. If a game is $10 on Steam, it has to be about $10 everywhere else. And
wait, why though? Wait, so they're trying to compare, because most people, if they see the game cheaper on another thing like Epic, they would just go and buy it on Epic. But like if it's on Steam, the ease, people are just gonna buy it on Steam. Yeah, it's actually like a smart ass fucking business tactic. Holy shit. They're low-key genius for that one. Holy shit.
Very few games can survive without being on Steam, given that they have all of the customers. It's created a setup.
Yeah, no, Steam, I could see Steam suffering a lot if they didn't have that, and then people could just list their stuff on like Epic Game Store. Not just people don't use it, like if the game is cheaper on there, people will just force themselves to get it.
Where Steam looks like the best deal, in part because it literally pressures developers and publishers to not offer a better deal elsewhere. And while most competitor platforms actually offer pretty generous deals to smaller developers, Steam does the opposite. Games that sell millions and millions of copies end up receiving a better split.
Oh yeah, probably because they're making more money.
This isn't because, I don't know, Activision needs the money, but it's because Valve understands as a company that the big developers are the ones who have the true bargaining power, the ones who could have
top 100 games, 91% of total annual revenue. Damn.
Significant impact if they tried to leave. And by offering them these generous deals, they encourage them to stay on Steam from day one. Indie developers who sell 50, 100, or even 10,000 copies of a game don't have a fraction of the bargaining power. And so there's no need to offer them a better deal. I mean, this is like clearly pretty anti-competitive if you ask me, but from a marketing and PR sense, it's actually genius. Steam always ends up having the best price possible on its platforms. The customers always get what looks like a reasonable deal, and Valve doesn't bear any responsibility if a game ends up being more expensive.
Yeah, I feel like them doing it is just more of like a stingy business practice. Like they're just moving how businesses move. I don't think it's like the worst thing. Like if it was Amazon or some shit, they probably just crush the competition. They'd be like, now you gotta sell here and then you can't sell anywhere else. If you sell anywhere else, bro, you're banned forever. They just do like some crazy shit, but over there they're doing like some type of like stingy type of businessing.
Public expected. The blame falls squarely on the developers. Meanwhile, other platforms can't easily compete on price and have to compete on other things, which is why you see exclusive releases as a method of competition. But people hate having to download a whole separate app to play one game because it's annoying and it feels anti-competitive. It feels like the wrong way to compete in this space. And by the way, I'm not like pretending that the Epic Game Store is like some pariah of the gaming industry, okay? They would definitely be doing the same shit if they could, right?
Can't blame them. It's the only way to fight back. Because how you gonna fight back with Steam? Only way you can do it is by having that specific game released on your thing and nothing else.
They're just annoyed that they can't. They're actually really annoyed that they can't because the CEO of Epic Games has been on this warpath for.
I'll be mad too.
And the reality is,
because how can you compete?
Is not the best, not just because of these anti-competitive practices that they're subject to, but also because the Epic Games Store is not very good. And many of these alternatives are just not very good to use. They can be buggy and laggy, while Steam ultimately at the end of the day provides a very functional service. The point that I'm actually making here is that Steam has monopoly power in this market, and they're using this power to do what all private monopolies always end up doing, restricting consumer choice and restricting competition. Until recently, Apple did a very similar thing. They'd take 30% of all in-app purchases that were done on Apple devices. Apps were literally not even allowed to tell their users that Apple was just taking 30% of the money and that you could sign up through Google Chrome or whatever for a discount. Apple wasn't taking this 30% fee because they were providing some amazing extra service.
Yeah, they like beefed with Epic Games. Like Fortnite, it was taken off for a while or something, right?
You bought your Fortnite V-Bucks. They did it because, much like Steam, they have completely unreasonable levels of control over the mobile app market, and they can get away with it. And it was a major legal issue until earlier this year when a long-standing lawsuit forced Apple to let developers offer alternate payment methods with lower fees. And in my opinion,
I know they were mad with that. Oh my god, you know they were pissed with that one.
Is basically identical to what Steam does in gaming. Except they were smart enough to realize that they needed to keep the biggest publishers on side and they couldn't push it too far. Instead of trying to get 30% out of literally everyone like Apple did, they made it an explicit point to offer more generous deals to the bigger clients. And again, let me remind you, Steam is actually a pretty good service, right? It mostly just works, but that doesn't mean it's not also holding an unfair market position. And it's no surprise that Valve are actually currently facing a class action lawsuit from a group of developers who allege exactly this. And they brought receipts. An economist quoted in the lawsuit even estimated that in a properly competitive environment, Steam wouldn't take more than like 17 to 18% of sales.
I don't even think they'd be mad now. Is the owner gonna be mad or something and crash out? Dude just got like 3 yachts. If I was him, I'd be like, damn, bro, it's what it is, man.
As opposed to 30%. This is literally billions of dollars that would end up back in the hands of developers. It's not like chump change. And I think we let Valve and Steam off for a lot of this behavior because they're often seen as like a neutral middleman who only exists to make the process of gaming smoother. And they do that, but they do a lot more too. When I began looking into Valve as a company, I quickly found out that they have some pretty important issues that they're yet to solve. Despite the fact that they give employees tons of freedom to decide what they work on, their staff rarely stay as lifelong Valve employees. One analyst even said that, "I've not met anybody who had a career there. They last long enough to make money, but the developers that I've known there
I'm making 3.5 mil for 10 years, I'll be straight.
Have left for greener pastures because the company doesn't publish games." But you'll notice that Valve hasn't actually completely given up on games, and the ones they've decided to keep tell us a lot about Valve's thinking. Once upon a time, they were really best known for single-player experiences, games where you pay once and you had all of the content. However, ever since the release of Team Fortress 2, an online multiplayer shooter, they realized you didn't need to make new games to make money. You needed to make more money from the games you'd already created. And thus was born the microtransaction. Instead of concepting
I don't understand the CSGO, like, some of the knives be worth like 100 bands, 200 bands. Who is buying this? Who cares that much? It's something I'll never understand. I don't understand Pokemon cards either, but I mean, at least that's a physical thing you could hold. Like, what are you doing with this? To me, this is no different than like an NFT.
of these games.
It's only another 25. My addiction. Oh, but why? Why do you care about these items? A little ass fucking digital knife, bro. To people that understand this, I probably sound like a fucking boomer, but I don't know. I don't understand.
Zero incentive to change things. The vast majority of people who play these games won't spend a penny, except the percentage that are susceptible to gambling addiction will spend all of their money on it. In the world of mobile gaming, which relies on a very similar model, about 50% of the revenue comes from just 0.1% of the user base. And we don't have numbers for Valve, but I don't imagine it's a mile off from this. When gambling regulators have tried to shut down these systems, Valve responds not by removing them from the game, but by trying to tweak them and design alternative systems that keep as much of the gambling feel as legally possible. Valve has created what Yanis Varoufakis, one of their former economists, would call a digital fiefdom. It markets itself as a neutral middleman, but it actually has a hell of a lot of power for deciding what happens on its territory. Developers depend completely on them, and they have an unfathomable amount of consumer data and complete dominance of their market. And anyone that uses Steam to sell games is under a lot of pressure to remain on Valve's good side. They're more like medieval lords than they are medieval marketplace operators. And currently they've been pretty nice with that power, especially to the people at the end of the chain, the consumers. But
yeah, I think no matter what, the consumers are the ones that are winning. The only people that aren't winning is the developers, because consumers, we get a product with just like everything laid out flat. We get it like, all right, here, download the game. Sometimes they'll be like, all right, here's the sale.
Under no obligation to keep that up. And I struggle to believe that Valve will keep being quite as nice if their margins ever get hit or if they have a change of leadership. We need to create a more robust system by making sure there's actual competition in this space. And if it's still not clear why competition is so important, you can just replace Steam with any other company that has this much control over a digital marketplace, whether it's Apple or Amazon, and it might become a bit more obvious as to where the problems could emerge in time. All in all, things could be a lot worse, and my experience, and most people's experience with Steam, has been pretty good. But good enough is not good enough, okay? The standard that Steam has set for users should be the norm. It shouldn't be an exception. And in fact, it's very much the exception that proves the rule. Steam's level of quality should be the bare minimum that we tolerate, and I don't think that's too much to ask.
Man, that was a good video, man. Yeah, anyways, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to join the Discord and watch streams.
Subscribe to Tommy NFG.